It's Play Saves the World, Episode 10. Top 10 board games for starting a casual game group. Hello! Welcome, everybody, to Play Saves the World, an ongoing conversation on the meaning of play for human flourishing. My name is Daniel Hilty.
And my name is Kevin Taylor.
And we're so happy to have you joining us today. Thank you for tuning into the episode and giving a listen to a discussion about the top 10 board games for starting a casual game group. And Kevin, I know this idea kind of occurred to both of us at the same time, as we both recently had experience a couple days ago, actually. You want to say a little bit about how this conversation, how this idea for an episode came about?
Yeah, so we were invited to speak with a group of the United Methodist Church, which is a Protestant denomination in large parts of the world. And we're both United Methodist, and they had a district committee on ordained ministry, which is just as exciting as it sounds. And they were having an online meeting, and this was sort of a continuing education event to talk about play and the role of play in the religious life. And folks were really interested, and they were curious about board games that we might suggest for doing gaming at their church. So we thought, we've never really done a top 10 list in this nature. And we could do it. But this applies not just to churches, right? Am I right?
Right. Yeah, this could be, as you said before we went online, Kevin, I mean, this could be in your local Rotary Club or your college group or whatever, maybe your office group, but any place you'd like to get together with other folks for a casual gaming group. Basically, what we mean by that is a group that is intentionally open to everybody, whatever their level of interest in gaming. So it could be people who are kind of hardcore hobby gamers, but also people who the only experience they have had with board games is like Monopoly or Uno or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this should be a low stakes, good fun game. If you're we're looking for games that are going to scale well. I know we haven't discussed criteria formally, but things
what's your criteria?
Yeah, I was looking for things that would accommodate different group sizes and a level of complexity that's going to be low, so that if people come in late or they just, some folks don't have a tolerance for this, and that is totally fine in terms of minutia. Other people are really hungry for a 4-hour, minutia-led, detail-oriented war game. I can kind of be that person. So we want to make sure we're clear about what this is, which is it's going to be fun, but it's really focused on a low barrier of entry, and you don't need to sit around and wait 20 minutes for someone to take their turn, because for some people, the neurodivergent and others, they're just going to hate it. They're going to be on their phones. It's not going to be fun. We want to make, and then also, so I was concerned with group size, complexity, and then time. How long does the game take?
That's a
you may
good
have
one.
people coming late or leaving early, you want something that if they come in late, well, in 5 minutes we're going to start another round or something.
That's a really good
What
point.
about you?
I like that. Yeah. Some similarities, though I hadn't thought about time, but you're exactly right. That this is, for the most part, people are, in general, are not going to be willing to commit, hours and hours to a game. And so, what can they get started quickly and get out of quickly? No, I agree. I think other things I had was maybe like maybe going along with that time, like quick setup and takedown. So these aren't games that you're going to take a half an hour to set up on the table. Replayability, there's just kind of a good, like the game will remain interesting after 10, 15 plays of it across the weeks or the months of the meeting of this group. I kind of looked for a mix of cooperative and competitive, because some people like competitive games. Sometimes some people like cooperative games. I think most of the games I came up with here are pretty affordable, and I try to pick games that are fairly widely available to. Um, there are a few exceptions, but I think most of the games that I've got here at least are available on the mass market. And again, there are a few exceptions. It's not true for all of them, but anyway. But yeah, so I think we're on the same page, and I'm excited to dig into our top 10 board games to start a casual gaming group. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Kevin, if you'd like, I could get started. We didn't talk
Okay.
about who wanted to go first. I can go first, and that way we can save your number one for the grand finale, which I'm so excited. And we should say a couple caveats. This obviously is not like a definitive list. Like Kevin and I have not played every board game that's out there, so there may well be other games that need
That's
to be
right.
on this list. Yeah, and this is how we're feeling today. We might feel different tomorrow, but for right now, at this point in time, which is as we're recording it at the beginning of 2025, these are games that for us are the top 10 games that we know to start a casual gaming group. So,
That's right.
and also that Kevin and I have not seen each other's lists. So this is going to be as much a surprise for each other as it is for you, our dear listeners and dear viewers. So I'm excited. Having said that, without further ado, may I share my number 10?
Number 10.
My number 10 is Similo. Similo is spelled
I don't know this
Similo. Do you know this game?
I don't know this game.
That's fine. That's fine. Similo is a game that came out a few years ago. It's a reimplementation of an earlier game. It is a cooperative card game. Super easy rule set. It can accommodate literally any number of people, from 2 to 20. Basically, there is a clue giver, and they have one card that they're trying to get everyone else to guess around the table out of a hand of 12 cards that they lay out face up on the table. Similo comes with different themes. I have the animals themes here, so every card has a different animal on it. So the clue giver is trying to get them to guess an animal, and once the game starts, they can't talk. And basically, the clue giver lays out a new card every round, and whether that new card is parallel to the cards that are laid out on the table or perpendicular indicates whether that the clue giver thinks that there is something similar between this new card and the card they're trying to get them to guess, or different between the new card and the card that they're
It's
trying to
almost
guess.
like a charades type
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Pictionary, but with. So how many cards do you get to pick from?
Initially 12, and the clue giver has 5 in their hand, and they always draw up to 5.
Okay.
And every round you eliminate. You're not trying to get the guessers are not trying to guess the card. The card, they're trying to eliminate cards. So every round they eliminate more and more cards unless they get it wrong, and then the game ends until they eliminate it down, hopefully to the right card. It's
That's
a lot
cool.
of fun. It's really quick. Maybe a 10-minute gameplay, cooperative, simple rule set. Any number of people. Similo, my number 10.
Number 10 for me is this is a great game. It's a bit of a one-trick pony, and it can be a little frustrating. That's not a hat.
Ah, I love that game.
This is great because lots of people can play, and it's goofy and it's fun, and I enjoy it. It leads to a lot of hilarious moments. But the problems with it is, some people are self-conscious about their memory, especially if you're in a religious type setting. You may have some older folks, and I've noticed they get a little embarrassed, so they don't want to play.
Yeah.
And some people are just not going to remember, and they're just out. Now, the whole game is oriented around not remembering. If you remembered, there would be no game. But you have to be willing to lean into that. And after a few rounds, people are kind of done, I think, is my experience. Like it kind of, you get the hang of it, and unless you're playing with new people, we don't really play it a whole lot. I know you have played this game, correct? And I don't know about your experience. I kind of have a slight dislike for the game, but it's still worth playing.
I
It's a
think
good
a great
opening
choice.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a great choice. It's a great choice. Yeah. And that's really thoughtful of you to be sensitive to the fact that, yeah, some people I think get embarrassed more easily by
Yes.
the challenges of remembering, even though, as you said, no one can remember in this
Right.
game. The whole point of the game
Yeah.
is to get you to not remember things. But yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
the game is basically you look at a card face up and it's a very simple thing. It's a duck or a basketball, and you give it to someone else saying this is a basketball, and at that moment it flips face down.
yeah,
And then multiple people are taking turns doing that, and it's going around the circle, and as you get things going around and you're given things, you then have to remember what things are, and you can never flip them over to look again. So you can lie, and only if someone challenges you do you get, found out. So if you're a good liar, you might win the game, but a lot of it is you can't remember because other things have happened and you
yeah.
can never consult. So you're like, this is a duck, I think, because it's gone around the circle. And so that's the whole game. It's very simple, very easy rules. People get to it very quickly, but yeah, it can also, as well as sometimes it gets stuck on one end. People are doing the cards. If you've had this, and
Yes, yes.
other
Especially
people
larger
are kind of
groups.
not doing anything. That
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, sometimes that happens just by luck of the cards. So
yeah, yeah. And parts of the table kind of have to sit out while the other
yeah,
parts of the table are playing. Yeah,
yeah, but it'll play up to, they say, I mean, you could play as many as you want. They recommend 8. That's probably getting high because you're going to have some people that are not going to
yeah.
be active. Probably 5 to 6 is a good number.
That's a great choice. I love that.
Thank you, thank you. What's your
Number
number
10.
nueve?
Cool. And I forgot to ask at the beginning, Kevin. I'm trying to guess how many carryovers we think duplicates from R2. I'm
3,
guessing 3. Okay, I was going to say 2, so we'll say 2 to 3. We'll see. If we're right.
2.5.
Okay. All right. Here we go. My number 9. Some of these games, why do I just get into it? My number 9 is Anomia. 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 This is a game that we have just played so much in our church board game group and in our family as well. It is a favorite
I
of
don't
our
have this
sons.
one either.
And it's a card game. It comes in a variety of box sizes. If for our viewers on YouTube, you may have just noticed I held up a really big box. You can also find it in very small boxes based on what store you're buying it at. Card game, competitive, very easy rule set, and very quick. People around the table draw a card and they put it face up in front of them so everyone can see it. And on that card there are 2 things. There's a category, like say rock band, and then there is a symbol, like say a curly Q. And everyone is putting up their card face up in front of them, just rapid fire around the table. If at any point 2 symbols match, like if someone else got a curly Q on theirs, then there's an instant match, kind of showdown between the 2 people
Ooh.
who have the curly Q symbols. And to win the match, you have to give an example of the category on the other person's card. So, like, I might have rock band curly Q. We go around the table. Someone else all of a sudden gets salad dressing curly Q, and all of a sudden I have to say Thousand Island before they say Coldplay or something like that, right? And in the and whoever does it first
Wait,
wins
Coldplay's
that
a
card.
salad dressing?
I love the Coldplay salad dressing.
It's
They
so
were kind of
good.
branching out. Yeah, they were branching out. I mean,
They're branching out.
they've you need to diversify your brand.
You would think the croutons would get soggy in the dressing, but they don't.
No, they
It's
don't.
because
They don't.
those croutons really rock.
They really do. My favorite Coldplay salad dressing is the yellow one. It's really great. It was made by a scientist.
And the red one, despite being called Coldplay Red, you're supposed to microwave it, which is strange. So it really
It's
ought to be
weird.
warm play.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, kudos to Coldplay for branching out in
Kudos
salad
to
dressing.
Coldplay. If
They
you want to sponsor us, we will be glad to be sponsored by you and your delicious salad dressing, croutons included.
Anyway, Anomia is great. It's really rapid fire. So the one thing I would just say is, if a person like me plays the game who is not a really fast thinker, And it's just not my gift. I'm not good at really thinking super fast.
Mm,
Um, they it doesn't mean obviously that the person is not smart or
right,
anything. It's just
right,
our
right,
brains are
right.
wired differently. Um, they might feel a little uncomfortable with it, and so
Right.
anyway. But if everyone feels comfortable with that, it's a lot of fun. Anomia, my number nine.
Ooh, very good, very good. My number nine, I don't have it here because it's actually at my church, at the church office
Oh
there for
yeah,
use. Although I've not played it with this church, but in a prior church setting, I did The King of Tokyo, which
oh
was a
yeah,
popular game from years ago. You don't hear as much about it. I'm actually not super crazy about the game, but what it's a hit with is younger kids because you get
yeah.
a monster in the middle and different people get to attack it. You kind of get points by being in the middle of Tokyo. So you're like a rampaging Godzilla or something. But you're getting losing health when you stay in the center, but that's how you're getting victory points. So different people kind of hop almost like a hot potato section. Like we'll get in there and there's different cards and the art's really cute. And that's just a good one for youngish kids. I mean, they'd probably need to be 5 or 6 years old. You could play it with a younger child, maybe, but they might need an adult to help them. But it's just really inviting and fun, and it's a little goofy. There's a little strategy, but King of Tokyo, I think, is a real pleaser with a younger crowd, especially young boys are going to get a kick out of it potentially. Not that girls wouldn't, but it is kind of a young boy game, I think.
Great
So,
choice. Great
are you
choice.
familiar with King of Tokyo?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like you said, yeah, probably our biggest fan of King of Tokyo in our previous church group was a young boy. He just
Yes.
loved to get that game out, and it's so great. Is there a certain character that you always play as?
No, I really
Okay.
haven't played it all that much.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
that's
played
okay.
it a few times, but I've seen its effectiveness. And they
That's
are
a great
funny.
choice.
Like one's like a chicken with a helmet on or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
There's some really goofy
It's like a
ones.
cyber bunny or yeah,
Cyber Bunny, yeah. So the
yeah, yeah,
adults will kind of find it amusing and the young kids will take it totally seriously. Like
yeah.
when I used to watch the Batman TV show, did not
That's a
know it
great
was
choice.
comedy at all. It was very serious. Yeah,
What? It was comedy? I never that
exactly.
It all makes sense now. That's
It all
great.
makes sense now.
That's a great choice, and I also like Kevin that choice because it's kind of a nod to people who are a little bit more into hobby board games too, because there's a little tiny taste of hobby board game-ish
Yeah, it
mechanisms in
is.
it. Yeah,
Some of
so
the
I
cards
like
and the
that.
yeah, the points. Yep. And you get
I
the
like
card
that.
draft. So there
Yeah,
is a little bit. Yeah, that's the adults will find that a little more interesting.
yeah. I realize
That's my number 9.
I like that. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
Well, no, mine. So number eight. My
Number
number
8.
eight is Quirkle.
Worker.
Corkle. I have a couple here in the row that make me think of family members. My mom loved Quirkle. Quirkle
Mm.
is a game that has been around for quite a while. I think a few decades at least. It's just a very satisfying game to play. There's these big wooden chunky tiles that have different symbols on them. There are six different symbols that come in six different colors. And if you like kind of like Candy Crush on your phone or kind of matching games,
Hmm.
this is probably a game that you'd like for our listeners. But basically, you're playing in a common area. Everyone on their turn tries to play tiles from their hand to the common area, and they have to match tiles around them either by color or by symbol without repeating color or symbol. And it's just great. And every now and then you be able to play all six of your tiles, and you get like
Hmm.
a bonus, a Quirkle bonus, and that
That
just
feels
feels so
good.
good. Um, and it's just a fun game that I've found. This probably is one of the most popular games we've played in game groups among folks who are retired or maybe
Hmm.
senior citizens who um, e- even if they don't like games very much, that they kind of find for whatever reason, it just seems to be a game that, um, I mean, everyone likes, but it seems like it's especially resonated with folks in that group, in the church groups where I've been at least for people who aren't into games otherwise. Quirkle's a great game. Yeah, so that's my number 8, Quirkle.
That's cool. We have it and I've played it, but it's been a long time. I'm gonna play this again. I need to get this out. So
It's a neat
that's awesome.
game.
My number 8 is similar. I don't have it with me, unfortunately, but it's actually, how many does Quirkle play? How many people?
Oh,
4?
that's a good. Oh, it says 4, which is
Yeah.
not
Well,
great on
mine
player
is
count.
similar, and mine is called Rummy Cube.
Oh,
And
yes.
similar to what you're saying with Quirkle, that it's a popular game with senior citizens, which is great. They're
Yeah.
part of the church community too. But it's also anyone can play with Rummy Cube. It's not that hard a rule set, but it's fun and it's sort of like Gin Rummy or Rummy type thing, but with dominoes and with numbers. And you're trying to get. They are dominoes, right?
Or they're like like custom tiles, and they're not
Custom tiles, but
the
they're
size
kind
of
of
dominoes.
domino-ish.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, and you're trying to get rid of either either the same number in different colors or a run of numbers 5, 6, 7. And if you can do that, then they go on a common board. And what's fun is you can divide up others once
yeah.
it's on the board on the table out of your little rack. You have these little racks. You can break up other people's stuff because you're just trying to shed, and it's not yours once you've played them. It's in the common area. And so if someone has a 5, 6, 7, 8, you could throw a 9 on the end of it and help you shed, and that gets really fun. So it's a numbers thing, and it's a bit of luck and a bit of pattern things, but lots of people get it or have played it, and it's popular. And yeah, I've just seen a lot of groups. My mother loves it. It was a favorite of hers, and her family used to play with her sisters-in-law. So lots of people are familiar with it. It's a good game, but it does only play 4. And but younger kids can get it because there's no reading. It's just if you know your numbers. So a patient 5-year-old could play this, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great choice.
yeah,
I love that Rummy Cube and Quirkle are both our number 8s, because I you're right, in my head I connect those two games. There's
yes.
almost kind of a kinship between Quirkle
There's a
and
kinship.
Rummy Cube.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a pattern thing, and
yeah.
yeah, that's
I
cool.
love
That's
that.
cool. Yeah,
Great choice. Great choice. Oh, I
and
love this.
probably someone has a copy of Rummy Cube in your community.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of a standard.
yeah. It really is. It's a great one. Good choice. Good choice, Kevin.
Yep. Number 7.
My number 7 is kind of, in my mind at least, kind of similar to your King of Tokyo choice. It's a game that's accessible, I think, to all levels of interests in board games, and yet it kind of has like a hobby board game feel for people who like
Okay.
hobby board games. By the way, I keep using that term. When we talk about hobby board gamers, what we just mean is people who kind of like who have a hobby of collecting board games and really kind of get into the deeper board games and things like that. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah,
So
people interested in different mechanisms or variations. So yeah, they're people that have an appetite for variety and innovation in
yeah,
games.
yeah,
And some people don't, and that is totally fine. Some people they love a game and they don't care
absolutely.
about they're missing whatever. I'm missing the sports gene. I think Daniel as well. We don't really not into sports, but
am.
you show me a pair of dice that have
Yeah.
a weird symbol on it. I'm very curious. I want to know how that
That's exactly
works.
right. That's exactly
yeah.
right. So that preamble brings me to number 7, which is Seven Wonders Architects. Seven Wonders
Oh.
Architects. This is a simplified version, Seven Wonders Architects, of a very popular hobby board game called Seven Wonders, which has been out for a long time. 7 people can play it, so it's got a big player count. But the Seven Wonders Architects is a simplified rule set for kind of a larger audience, and children can play it, adults can play it. It plays really quickly. In Seven Wonders Architects, everyone has a unique set of cards, but they're very simple cards, and a unique set of tiles to build an ancient wonder. You're literally building a 2-dimensional ancient wonder in front of you, and it's kind of a cartoony style. And on your turn, it's really easy. You just draw a card from your left or your right. All of the decks of cards are in between each of the players, and you use its effects to help you either build your wonder or gain victory points in some other way, gain points in some other way. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. It's a really simple rule set, but it also kind of scratches that itch if you like kind of the hobby board game feel as
Hmm.
well, but something that any age and interest level of persons can play.
I don't
Seven
know that one
Wonders
either. I know
Architects.
Seven Wonders vaguely, and
Yeah.
Seven Wonders Duel. I've played like a time or two, but it's been a while.
Yes. Yes.
But
Those are great
yeah, Seven
games.
Wonders Architects. Yeah, I love the big player count and simplify. That's awesome. What a great
Thanks.
idea to do that. Yeah, and good choice, good choice. Number
Thank you.
7 for me is a really fun game called Coup.
Cool.
Have you ever played this, Daniel?
I am not sure that I've ever played it correctly.
Right.
I think I played it
It's a
once
little
incorrectly.
quirky. It's a little quirky,
And
and
that's
it is a
on me.
game.
Yeah. It's my
It's
fault,
like
not the
you,
game's fault.
so you will
Yeah.
like it. Yes. No, the game is a little quirky, but it's basically a bluffing game. And so what works well, teenagers love it, in my experience, because they get to sort of go to the dark side,
Yeah. Yeah.
and also not only you might lie or bluff to try to win, but you can call someone out, and if you catch them, that's a lot of fun. And at the whole table, so it's a real good table experience of finding out later someone was lying or catching their bluff or whatever, and watching. It can be a little mean though because you are eliminating people from the game, but it can play if you have the expansion Reformation, which this is the expansion to Coup. You can play up to 10. That's probably too many people, but it'll play a large number. It doesn't have to take long. It's still interesting, even if you get taken out of the game, because you have two cards, and when you lose both cards, you're out.
Mm.
It'll go quickly, and to watch what people do, and you might even look at their cards, quietly. It's still fun to be a part of the game. But Coup's a fun game, and there's different roles, and like the Duke can tax, but then there's an assassin, and but the Contessa can block the assassin. So they're really cleverly chosen the roles.
It
So
sounds kind
Daniel
of
could say
similar.
he's the assassin, he's going to kill one of my people. He could be lying. And then I could say I'm the Contessa and I'm blocking him, but I could be lying.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
up to us to decide whether to call each other on it.
It sounds. Is it kind of similar? It sounds like it has some similarities like Love Letter. Have you ever played Love Letter?
I haven't played Love Letter, but
No.
I've always heard it's really good.
But it sounds like a great game. Maybe there aren't similarities. I don't know because I haven't played Coup really. I like that, and
Right.
that's a great choice. And I love how it, like you said, appeals to teenagers in your experience. And just having two cards. I mean, what a cool
Right.
simple setup and rule
It's
set.
it's
That's
very it's
awesome.
got a showdown like Wild Wild West almost of am I going to call your
That's
bluff
awesome.
or do I let you, right? So yeah.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
Coups a win. After a few rounds, you're probably done with that group. Again, you kind of want to play with different people or play something else, but it's a good little light game to play.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And
And
just for
people
our
figure it
listeners,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This is coup spelled COUP,
right.
not the other game coup spelled COO, where you make sounds like pigeons, right? It's
Right.
not that
Which
one.
is a game in development
Yeah,
by
yeah,
Daniel.
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Do you remember the Who had a really good song? It's called "Who Are You?" Coo, coo,
Coup,
coo, coo.
coup are
Tell me,
you?
who are
Yeah,
you?
that was their
Who
pigeon album, right?
are
It
you?
was,
There's a
yeah.
pigeon.
Yeah, it was experimental. A lot of people were like, "Whoa, what's going on?" But the Who knew what they were doing.
Right, right.
Not too dissimilar from when Coldplay went into the salad dressing business. They
It,
were trying to
music.
expand
The
the
music
brand.
industry is so amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
people. Yep.
thought that the pigeon market is untapped for a long time for, especially 1970s British rock.
Right.
It was,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Good, good. So COUP, coup, great
Coup.
choice, great choice. Thank you so
Coup is
much.
fun. Very cheap. Available.
My number 6. This is one that I love, and everyone that it plays has played this with me loves this as well. It may be a little bit harder to find though, so this is one of the harder to find ones. You probably have to order it somewhere, unless you can maybe ask your friendly local game store to have it or to order it. And that is Strike, Strike, the dice game. It is what it says it is. It's a dice game. And you open up the box and you play the game in the box. Inside, there's like this little kind of plastic Roman Colosseum sort of thing with a rubber foam mat in the bottom. And you just roll your dice sequentially into the box around the table. It's a push your luck game. If you get a match, you get to add those dice to your hand. If you don't get a match, you lose your dice. There are strike dice that automatically get eliminated if it comes out that side of the dice when you roll them. It's push your luck if you like that kind of game where you try to see how far you can go, and the further you go, the greater the chance of success, but also the greater the chance of failure. And it's just a lot of fun. It's one of those games where there's really no skill. It's almost all luck. But regularly in the game, you'll see the whole table kind of jumping up and going, "Oh, what an amazing roll!"
I love it. I love a
yeah,
unified table moment. That's the best.
yeah. It's great. And then there are these really special moments that if all the dice match, which happens every now and then, debate, you get to remove them all, and the next person has to roll all of their dice, and some really funky things can happen then. Anyway, Strike is a great game, a little bit harder to find, but super quick, super easy setup. Strike, my number 6.
Number 6. Number 6 for me, this is probably my more challenging or involved game, and that is a classic called Mysterium.
Oh, yes.
And this will play up to 7 people, and it's going to be about a 45-minute play. So this is it's breaking the accessible time accessibility, unfortunately, but it's probably worth it just because it's so interesting. One person's supposed to be a ghost, and they are communicating to the table about their death. So you may have to know your group and whether I don't think anything's upsetting, but you never know. But
Right.
But you've died as a ghost, and you want to indicate who killed you with what weapon. But you can never speak, and what you do is reveal these artsy type visions, and people have to decide what you're trying to tell them based on it. And the artwork is cool, and lots of people, like young kids, could get into it because it's a lot of guesswork. So it's similar to what you were saying with the words earlier with, was it Anomia?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're suggesting something with different words. This is doing that with images and trying to figure that out. And it's just a really fun experience. It's fun to be the ghost because you watch people make totally wrong guesses, but you can't help them. And you're like, no, I didn't mean about the color red. I meant about the scarves, right? But, they get off track, and then you try to fix it. And it's just fun. It's fun.
That's a great
Mysterium.
I've heard so many good things about Mysterium. I've never played it, but that sounds
you would really
wonderful.
like it. You would like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun little game.
In fact, I have a copy that I need to.
Oh, do you?
Try.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you'll
that's
enjoy
great.
it.
What a
You'll
great
enjoy it.
choice. What a great choice.
Yep.
It sounds. I like it. I like it kind of has that cool element that you were saying about That's Not a Hat kind of too, where you kind of bluff a little bit, and you have the chance of calling someone else's bluff maybe, or a little bit.
No, you're not really. No, this one
Okay,
is.
okay.
It's really just you're honestly trying to figure out what they're saying. It's just the artwork. The artwork's really cool, but it might show bunnies with balloons, and you're trying to use that to indicate the tailor killed you,
I see. Okay.
Because you get so many cards and you have to pick one, and you're hoping there's something, in that they'll see. You give them a couple, and then you're hoping they'll see something similar between them, but they're real weird, the images, the dreams. It's supposed to be dreams, like visions speak.
That's a great addition to the list because it gets into some thematic elements that a lot of the other games we've talked about aren't necessarily that thematic. So I love that. That's great.
Yeah. But this
Good
would
addition.
be for a group. This would probably be if you have a group that's developed and really wants something more interesting than a cat. So this probably doesn't belong on a casual game list. But
No, I think it's fine.
I did it.
My
No,
understanding
I'm
is that it's
terrible.
rather
I'm
casual.
terrible.
No, I
I'm a bad
celebrate
person,
that
Daniel.
choice.
I'm a really
I think
bad
you're
person.
you're an amazing human being. I love it.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, we're on our top half of our top 10. Here we go. Number 5 is a game. Honestly, I haven't played it as much recently, just because we've played so much of it when we first got it. But I've played it with so many people over the years, including staff at churches where I've worked. So I think it's a good thing for office retreats too. And that is the good old, much beloved Codenames. Codenames is my number 5. Codenames is a team cooperative game. So it is cooperative, but you divide the group into 2 teams. And so you are trying to beat the other team, but everyone on the team is working together. Just 2 teams. You have a grid, a matrix of 25 cards laid out on a common table that have various names on it of secret agents. And they can be anything from like unicorn, lollipop, ice cream, dragon. And the 2 clue givers for each team, one for each team, shares a common map that shows them which secret agent belongs to which team, and which are neutral, and which is the assassin. And they're just trying to get their team members to guess who their secret agents are by giving one-word clues. And ideally, to really win the game, you try to give a clue, one-word clue that can apply to multiple agents who are
Right.
out on the field. And though if you get the assassin, you instantly lose. It's just a great game. What I love about this game is, so often when I've played it, almost immediately afterwards, someone hops on their phone and then orders a copy. And I love it when people have
Right.
experiences like that.
And you
So
can get this, I think, maybe even at Walmart, Target.
yeah,
Everyone has it. Yeah, it's
super mass
readily
market.
available.
Code names, great game. Plays in, I mean, it's not the quickest game, but plays in maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. Code names, great game. My number 5. Is this your number 5 as well?
What? Code names,
Code
code
names,
names.
yay! Our first
I
our crossover.
First crossover. I need to play it more, to be honest. I have not played it in a church setting, but I've played it in a family setting, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially because it's so easy to. This is like Mysterium, where you're thinking a certain path and people see a connection you weren't thinking about
Right,
at all, and
right,
you're like, no, not that one, right?
right.
Because they end up with a dud and it cancels things out and stuff. So yeah, Codenames is a lot of fun. I agree, and it's that's
Yay!
cool. And there's a lot of variations. There's like an After Dark. I've not played anything but the classic one.
Right,
So,
right. Like I think like a Disney, a Marvel.
yeah.
Um,
Which should just be the words are going to be different, I assume.
Coldplay. Yeah.
Cold
Salad dressing.
salad dressing.
That's right. Yeah, that's great. That's a great choice. Yeah. All right, I love our first
Yay.
crossover. All right, ready for number 4?
Crossover. Number 4.
Well, if anyone has had any contact with me personally over the last couple months, this next one comes as no surprise, because I've been playing it and talking about it a lot, and that is a little card game called Trio. Trio is my number 4. I know you've heard me talk about this, Kevin. I love this game. This game just came out in the last year or two. One of the newest additions to my collection, and one of the newest additions to our church game group. But by golly, is this a great game?
Yes.
Simple card game.
So simple.
Yeah, it really is. There's a deck of cards that are numbered 1 through 12, and there's 3 copies of each card. And you, on your turn, you reveal a card. You reveal a card that's either in the middle of the table, or by asking someone to show their lowest or highest card, and including yourself, you can show your lowest or highest card. If you do that twice, if those 2 cards match, you get a third attempt to reveal another card. If those 3 cards match, you claim all 3 as a trio. First person to win 3 trios wins. Or if you claim the 7 trio, which is the hardest trio to claim, you win instantly. It's somewhat a memory game, but also a luck game. I just love this game. It's
It's
much
great.
fun.
It is
Yeah.
so good. It's so
Yeah.
good.
So you
told me
you
about
bought
it.
a
I'd never
copy
heard
too,
of
right?
it, and I've had and it's $15 of just pure joy, and it plays up to 6 people. There's a bit of bluffing, and you
Yeah.
can be like, what do you you can do some trash talk at the table, like, what are you giving me this two for? That's not what I wanted, type
Right,
thing.
right,
So
right.
I took it to our friendly board game store when they had a board game night and played with some strangers for about an hour, and we had
Oh,
more
great.
fun. They were just howling kind of. So
Yay,
it
yay.
is a great game.
Great.
People always have a hard time with even your cards follow the rules. It's
Yes,
so
yes.
unnatural because and it's a Japanese game, I
It's
believe.
from Japan. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know if it's partly that and versus Western games or what, but everyone thinks, well, I can of course do whatever I want with my cards,
Like
but you
draw from the
can't.
middle. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
but you
and
can't.
everyone,
Yeah,
and you try
yeah.
to tell them, but the noobs will always miss that because it's so unnatural to every other game you've played. But yeah, you can't do that. So
I'm glad that you like that game. That's
yeah, I
great.
love
That's
Trio. I
great.
love Trio. My number four is a game that we played a bit and then we stopped, and then we've recently started replaying to lots of howls of joy, and that is Secret Hitler.
Secret Hitler.
Secret Hitler. This is a sort of trader. Well, I guess it's not hidden trader. It's like the old mafia game we used to play, where
Okay.
there's a bad team and a good team, and the bad team knows who they are, kind of, but the
Okay.
good team doesn't know. So the bad team wants to lie about being bad, of course, because they're and it's not an endorsement of fascism. It's supposed to be set in the
Sure.
30s when Hitler got elected as chancellor, but you've got the liberals and you've got the fascists. So the fascists are the bad guys. But of course, they're saying they're liberals. And what will happen is you will elect, the president will get a chancellor elected. And then they will try to pass a policy that could be liberal or fascist.
Okay. Okay.
And so where the hilarity ensues is, first off, you have to get the chancellor elected. Everybody votes on that. But then the president will draw three policies. And there's more fascist than liberal. So they could get unlucky and get three fascist policies. They
Ah,
discard one and give the other two to the president. So the trick
interesting.
is they could be a liberal, but they're forced to pass a fascist policy. They're basically forced to say they're bad. So the whole table thinks they're bad, but they're actually good.
Oh, that's so
Or they could be
interesting.
lying. You could lie and you could say, well, I gave the president one of each. And the president says, no, you gave me two fascists. So it creates just these real shouting moments. And we have had so much fun and trying to be Hitler and get elected as chancellor. And it's just great. It plays up to 10 people. And it's a lot of fun.
Up to
It's
10
a lot of
people.
fun.
Wow.
10 people and
That's
lying about who you are, not sure. And why is that person so quiet? And yeah. And with
that's
10 people, Hitler doesn't know who the fascists are,
okay. Okay.
but the fascists know who Hitler is.
Okay. Okay.
And you do it
Interesting.
by closing your eyes and putting your hands out. And if you're,
Oh, like a werewolf kind of thing.
yes, and so you
Okay.
don't need
Okay.
anyone to run the game, but
Okay.
that's
Okay.
how, so the fascists open their eyes, Hitler puts their thumb up. So yeah, it is like One Night Werewolf or something like that, which is the mafia game. Anyway, lots of fun. Lots of, the minute this game ends, everybody's like, who was the, like everyone is
Right.
sort
Right.
of
Right.
energized to figure out what everyone was doing. I know
I've
my
never
wife
tried
Jenny
that
one
game.
time was like, I cannot believe you lied to me this whole game. And of course I was in heaven because I'm like, I fooled you. It was great. So
I've
yeah,
never tried
Secret
that.
Hitler.
But I've
Yeah.
heard some people say they just really love that. It
It's
sounds
fun.
really
It's
fun.
fun. Don't let the theme. I mean, I'm not sure why they picked this theme.
Sure, it
But
could be
it's
any
not
theme.
supposed to be
Yeah. Yeah.
anything. It could be other stuff. It's not. Yeah. I guess it is trying to create a historical moment because Hitler was elected chancellor. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Kind of
partly.
learn a little history
Yeah.
too.
And they're
Cool.
clearly the bad
Cool.
guys. Yeah,
Right.
it's
Right.
clearly the bad guys. So we're against Hitler. Okay,
Number
that was
four,
number
Secret
4.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Good. I like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
number
you.
three. Number three is my number four was also a small box Japanese game. This is an even smaller box Japanese game. I bet you can probably guess this one.
Cool,
This
isn't
is
it? It's cool.
Scout.
I mean, Scout. I don't know why.
Scout.
It's
No,
because
it's
it has
fine.
COU in it. I
That's
gotta
right.
edit
Yeah, it
that.
does. There
I
is a
meant
good.
Scout.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
said coup. I
This
don't
is
know
a
why I did that.
super small box game about the size of
Look at
a
those
Matchbox.
colors.
A Scout. By golly, also just a fantastic little card game. We've had so much fun with this game. It plays up to I think five, which isn't a lot, but
Hmm.
if you get two to five, it's just great. Two's a little funky, but on your turn, you either scout or show, which basically means you kind of hire away another card from somebody else's circus. That's the theme. Or you put on a new circus show, which is basically just putting out a new set on the table. There can
Hmm.
only be one set on the table at a time. If you put out a new set, it has to beat the other person's set, which means, and a set is either a run of cards or a group of identical cards. But we had so much fun with this game; it was fun. But then, what took it to a new level was a friend. A few months ago, we were playing this, and he decided to really incorporate the circus theme because every card has the name of a performer and the name of a circus act on it. And our first couple months of playing it, we just totally ignored that because it's a numbers game. You could ignore the theme completely and just go with the numbers on the cards. But he
Hmm.
decided to really incorporate the circus theme, and so he'd say, "Well, you might be bringing in the bucks with Nancy and Mary's trampoline act, but you haven't seen anything until you've seen Xavier, Mark, and Donald's human cannon act." And then he brings it out, and they oh no, and then so we found trying to incorporate the thematic
That's
circus elements really
hilarious.
brings in a lot of fun. So Scout is a great game as
I
well.
almost, yeah, I did not go with Scout. I probably should have. I didn't put it on my list. It would be on my honorable mention list. Scout is great. I'm so bad at it though, Daniel. It ends so quickly, or
It
it can
does.
end very abruptly. So I can't tell you how many times I've played it, and I was about to have a great move, and it ended because, yeah, it's and maybe I just need to play it more. But I think some games, you just they click more for others, but I
Sure,
love it. It is
absolutely.
fun.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
really fun.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't ever seem to get in sync with doing well with Scout, but it is fun. It is fun. Yeah.
I
So,
understand.
all
Cool.
right.
So that's my number three, Scout.
That is your number three. My number three is kind of a classic just because it's easy and small, and that's Bananagrams.
Bananagrams.
And it's going to fit. I don't know how many you can play. I don't know if there's a limit, but it's very satisfying to bring around. It's going to fit in a bag, and you're basically kind of very quickly playing Scrabble with trying to get letters. Do you know this game?
Yeah, it's like
And
Scrabble
create
without the
words
board,
and building
right?
off of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
if you can, so that's the one thing is that if you're not good with words and letters, or you're not a fast thinker, as we were saying earlier, it can be a little frustrating. Like this will separate like smart people that are have a strong vocabulary or that have played a lot of Scrabble are going to do really well. So this can kind of get old for some folks I've seen. Like they don't want to play it,
Mm-hmm.
or so you need to mix it up or just play it a little bit or make sure there's different people playing because some people are going to be devious at this. Like my wife has played a lot of Scrabble as a kid and she
Oh,
can
okay.
really tear this up. So I don't really like to play with her, but it is fun and it's simple and it's easy and you reset and you just dump everything in the bag. So Bananagrams, my previous church had a board game group and this was always being played. Which, by the way,
Nice,
a lot of these
nice.
little boxes, if you can get a group in a game, someone going, you can have multiple games going.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good
So you
point.
can
Good
have
point. Yeah,
Bananagrams and Trio,
yeah.
especially if you have 10 or 15 people. Have three games going and let people cycle through it, circle through it. One problem with churches, if you're or a house of worship, temple or synagogue or mosque or something, if you have tables and they're round, those are frustrating.
Yeah, that's
And you and
true.
I have talked
Right.
about this.
Yeah,
Lots
yeah,
of churches have gone to round tables because they're easier to store, they're light, they're
yeah.
inviting for people to be able to see each other, but they're not good for games because you're going to be far away. You really want a square rectangle table, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's counterintuitive.
yeah,
I think people
Bananagrams.
going into game group think that a round table is going to be great, but they're not. Yeah, you want kind of those
No,
long rectangular tables, or
no,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
reaching over. Yeah, it's
yeah.
designed for food and plates, not for yeah, it doesn't work. But it's okay. I mean, it does work. It does work. It's just yeah, you'll pine for the heavy old wood tables we used to have. Yeah,
Spe-
that's my
it's-
pick.
you pine for the pine tables. I love that. That's great. That's a great one too. Yeah, all these great
Yeah.
games. I haven't thought about Bananagrams in a long time. Thank you. Good. All right. Well, my number two, Kevin. We've done various lists over the years. It's not fair to make you guess, but there's like one game that always shows up on all my lists, always forever.
It's
But
gonna be Telestrations.
it is Telestrations. That's right. So my
Yeah.
number two is Telestrations. We have the big party pack that can play up to 12 people. There are rules for Telestrations, but we never follow the rules. Ways to score. Basically, it's like the telephone game, but with drawing. You have a secret word. You have to draw a picture of it. Then you pass it to your neighbor. Then they have to turn to the next page and write down what they think the secret word is based on your picture. Then they pass it to the next person, and they have to draw a picture based on the secret word that the person right in front of them tried to guess at. And you go around the table. And at the end, we don't care about scoring. At least in the games that we play, in the groups we play, you just show. Then you just show your notebook to the whole table and kind of the progression of the original secret word to how it evolved around the table. And I've said it before, if you heard me talk about it before, I apologize for repeating, but just I've never played any game that has generated more deep soul laughter than this game. It's just a game that has brought people to tears because they're laughing so hard. And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just a great game.
I agree with
So,
that. It's probably
yeah,
caused the most laughter of any game.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Telestration is my number two.
I'm surprised it's not your number one. Now I'm really curious what your number one is.
Yeah, personally, I prefer my number two to my number one, but I felt like I had to give my number one to another slot for reasons I'll get into. But yes,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. I almost feel like we should make this like a season finale and make people wait 3 months to find out Daniel's number one. So anyway, my number two is a game that means three. Do you know what game it is?
Trois. Trio, no, really, another
Trio is
crossover.
so good.
I didn't
Another
think it was going to be on your
crossover.
list. That's so great.
Yeah, no, I've this,
Yay.
like I said earlier, yeah, this is a great game. People pick it up very quickly. It
Yay.
can make people feel dumb at times because of the memory aspect of remembering who has what cards. Some people are going to get to that really quickly, and all the people like me that are forgetful are going to hate them. But it's still fun, and it's funny to know what something is, and you can tell someone's forgotten and they're like, oh, I wanted the four, and or there's a bit of bluffing as well, like you're getting intel and hoping they don't figure out what you're fishing for. So it's this go fish memory game. It's just fun, and there's a luck component too. Like I've seen people just get a trio immediately just out of luck. You have a one, and I ask Daniel to show, and I turn a card over, and everyone's like, "Wow!" You get a one, you get a trio of ones immediately.
Yeah,
Trio
yeah,
is
yeah.
great. I love the colors.
The
Have you
colors
ever
are great.
tried the spicy? I need to try the spicy.
No,
side.
I haven't. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
supposed to be even harder. Like you can't get any sets of three, any trios, just any of them. You have to get certain ones.
Right, right. And the spicy variant is included in the box, so you don't have to go get a separate
Yeah.
box. It's like
$15 of utter joy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I
I'm
was
so glad
thinking,
you like that.
I was thinking this about Secret Hitler. I think I spent $40 on this 5 years ago. And and just the other night we played with some old family friends. There were 10 of us, and
That's
we
so
had,
great.
if each person had $15 of fun,
Yeah, yeah.
that's $75 of joy right there. And this hobby is kind of cheap in a way.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're careful, like you can, because I can keep playing this game. Like
Yeah.
it's so much bang for your buck, I would say.
That's a great
So-
observation. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right that board games can get expensive, but
Absolutely.
you spend some money, but if you play it again and again and again and again and again and again and again with dozens of different people over the years, it really pays off.
Yeah, especially game, and you could have shelved it for a while, haha,
Yeah.
and then you bring it out again, and you're just like, oh, I forgot how good this game
Like you did
is,
with
which is
Secret
so
Hitler.
much
Yeah,
like
yeah,
with Secret Hitler,
yeah, with your
exactly. I'm
friends.
like, I
That's so cool.
forgot how fun this is. Yeah,
I need to
yeah.
try that. I haven't tried that game. I need
We
to try
will
it.
play it.
That
We're with Daniel and I are going to be at the Geekway,
Geekway.
which is a board game convention, and I'll make sure to play it with you.
Yay!
Yeah, you'll love it. You'll
I
love
look
it.
forward to it. That's
We'll
cool.
see. We'll
That's
see
cool.
Dark Daniel emerge.
All right, so we have two crossovers. I love it. I love it.
Yep.
All right, all right. Are you ready for number one?
Number one.
My number one. Again, this would not be my personal number one, but I think I've seen more people in more church groups respond to this game
Oh, I'm
positively
so curious.
than any other game, and I also love it. I honestly I used to love it more, but Kevin, I've just played it so much. I think I got to the point where I've just kind of gotten tired of it.
Yeah.
But just could play it. So, but it's a great game, and that is Just One. Just One, which actually we played online with the group that Kevin was talking about the other night.
That's an honorable mention for me today. Yeah,
Good.
I'd never
Yeah.
played it. That was a good one.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually won the Spiel des Jahres, which is the Game of the Year award. Actually, Codenames won Spiel des Jahres. I think Scout won Spiel des Jahres. I didn't name all these, but
And that's a big annual major prize for board
yeah,
games.
yeah, for board game. But Just One, it's a cooperative game, very easy rule set. There's one person who's trying to guess a word, and everyone else knows what that word is. And they have to give the guesser a one-word clue. But the catch is if any of the clues are duplicated or are repeated, you have to remove all instances of that clue before
Such a great mechanic.
yeah. So there's this tension between trying to give a clue that is a really good clue that gets the person to guess the word, but not so good or so obvious that you think someone else is going to give that clue as well. A very simple rule set, but every it probably more than any other board game I've played with church groups, that this has resonated with the most number of people. People
I need to
people
get
just
a
adore
copy.
this game.
Does it come with dry erase, or you just use
It comes with
whatever
dry
paper?
erase. Yeah,
Okay,
little
I was
everything you
wondering.
need is in the board in the box. Little
'Cause
dry erase.
we played over
placard.
Zoom, and that worked really well.
Good,
Zoom
good,
with 30
good,
people, and as long as you had an index card or something, just hold it up, and
Yeah, you just hold. Yeah,
it
you can
went
play
better
by.
than I thought. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, good. There's one house rule that I've done with it that I've kind of started to feel better about. Is in the original rules, there's only one guesser,
Okay.
and but I've kind of house ruled it over recent plays of it where there are two guessers who work together, and the reason I do that is because every now and then, if it's just one person who's guessing and they don't get it right, sometimes that person can make the person feel really down on themselves. Like everyone like
Right.
oh I'm not a good guesser. Oh,
So you've created a pass the buck rule. You can blame the other person.
that's right. That's right. Or you can help each other. And so if you have two guessers, I feel like it makes it even more.
Right.
That's right. You don't feel like it's on you for losing it or whatever.
That's
So,
that felt so natural. I think that's great, as well as it creates a little teamwork because they get to say, "Well, what do you think?" And so
Yeah,
it creates a little bit of a table talk. Oh,
well,
genius, Daniel!
thanks. Well, you're kind. You're kind. Thank you. So that's just
That's
one. My
good.
number one. A great cooperative.
Honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a copy. I'd heard of it, never played it till the other day, and yeah, it was awesome. My number one is a crossover. What is it, Daniel?
Oh, it's a crossover.
It begins and ends with consonants. 4 syllables.
Gee, I don't. Telestrations.
Telestrations.
Yay!
Number one, Telestrations. Yay, you got
Great,
it. Yeah.
Great. Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, that game. It's great. It's great, and it's sort of it rewards you for playing it badly in some ways because it's funny, which is a bit how That's Not a Hat works. Like if
Right,
everyone
right.
drew really well, there would be no game. Just like in That's Not a Hat, if you could remember, there'd be no game. So the game
Right,
is
right.
premised in
True,
a funny way
true.
on being a terrible artist, and seeing how it evolves is great. It doesn't. They kind of have a win condition in there. It doesn't really work. So that's the one thing I think after you play it a few times, for me, it's not quite a game. It's more of an experience, right?
Yeah,
And so it
yeah.
can become a one-trick pony of unless you play with different people or change it up somehow, after a few playthroughs, I think I'm done for that session. But for what it does, yeah.
Yeah.
And also sometimes you realize someone's a really good artist. You have no idea. So if you play with the church group, all of a sudden, dear old 78-year Roland over there, what do you know? He's really good with the pen. And that's an
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
moment. And kids love it. Kids think it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Now, I
that's
have
I
three
love that's your
teenage
number
boys.
one.
Sometimes they throw. The problem now is they're going to draw something inappropriate. So you have to
Sure. Sure.
there's that danger if you've got teenagers in it that want to sort of throw a monkey wrench in things. But yeah, Telestrations is a great game. And to be honest, you don't even have to really don't. I didn't say this, but you don't have to buy it. You could create your own version with paper and just picking a word.
You're right. You're right. It's absolutely
But
right.
it's worth
Yeah.
it. It's not expensive. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah. And I didn't mention, a house rule we do in our family is after a while we don't even use the cards anymore. We just say, okay, everyone make up
I
their own
played that
category.
with you. That
Yeah.
was very surreal.
And like our son and daughter, adult son and daughter, they just love to like come up with the most random things.
Yeah,
Like,
I
okay,
think someone had ennui or something.
that's right. Like that's right. Like abstract emotions.
Abstract
We kind of-
concepts.
that's- yeah, that's just such a
And the
great
picture
game.
I drew was Daniel at a football game.
That's
Ennui.
right. That's right.
What's happening?
Confusion.
Utter confusion.
I
Am I
love that.
pulling for the blue team or the red team? Go blue!
Yay! They got the game. They got the ball furthest away from their goal. That's right. It's a
Yeah,
good
I
thing,
think
right?
that's the
It's a-
idea,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, that's great. So we had 3 crossover.
We did, which
Which is
I think I win because that was my guess.
That was your guess. That was your guess. You win the game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and then, did you have any other honorable mentions you wanted to share?
Maybe I did. I will share. Ticket to Ride is always fun.
Oh yes, such a
And
good
I
choice.
think it will only play 4, but it feels a lot kind of like Monopoly, but much better. So if you want an interesting game, and I'm not the biggest fan. I'm very unusual in that regard. It's fine.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
I've just
I'm
not
kinda
had
with
the
you.
right experience. But
No, I'm with you.
but people love it, and I'll
Yeah.
play it. I would definitely play it. It's a little Monopoly-ish, but in a really good way. Like it's got ideas from Monopoly that are, yeah.
Right, right.
So you agree? It's kind of a
Yeah, but unlike Monopoly, you're right. It won't drag on forever, and like no one. It's not. There's no player elimination. Like you're not going to.
correct.
Feel
I
like
just
the game
mean,
has destroyed you.
yeah, it's going to feel familiar to people,
Yeah.
which is you're
Yeah.
trying to build out something, and it can get interesting. You're building trains, obviously, and you can block each other, and you're trying to get segments. So, Ticket to Ride is a good one, and then another that's a little more challenging potentially is Architects of the West Kingdom.
Oh
But,
yeah.
This is a great game, but the art's great and it's very approachable, and it's going to be more of a 45-minute to an hour game. But if you want something a little chunkier, it's really simple though. You're putting meeples, little wooden pieces out to do selection of what you want to do. What's interesting with it is the more you get to a location, the more powerful you are.
Yeah,
And then someone can
yeah.
try to stop you. So people pick it up pretty quickly, and it's fun. Yeah,
That's
it's
a
fun.
great-
Architects
that's
of the West
great.
Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah. Good honorable mentions.
Do you have
Thank
any
you, thank you.
honorables? Yeah, thank you. Oh, and I also will say Harmonies. Harmonies is great, but only for people
yeah,
that
a new
love
game.
Harmonies.
A new game.
Harmonies.
Yes, that is a great game. We
Harmonies
had that
is
at our
really
church
good.
group, and people really liked it too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Harmonies is fun.
that's great. My honorable mentions. I'm just a couple. Scram is a little card game I love. I
you
didn't put it on
taught
the
me
list just
that.
because it requires a specific player count. You either have to have 4 or 6, but if you have 4 or 6, it's a great game. And then Downforce is a game that scratches that hobby board game itch, but I think it's accessible as well. It's a card game where you're racing cars around a track, and you do it by playing cards. And that's I've had a lot of people love that in our game groups too.
I've never played that one.
Downforce, yeah. Kevin, this was great. So there you go, around 20 games to
Around
start
20 games.
a casual game group. So
From $11 to $50.
yeah,
And
yeah.
many available on Amazon or your friendly local game store, or Target, Barnes & Noble is going to have some of these as well.
Yeah, yeah. I loved your choices, Kevin. This was great. I love getting to talk through these with you. Thank you so much. And listeners, thank you so much for hanging in with us through this hour. This has been a lot of fun for
Hmm.
us. I hope it's been fun for you.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
A happy 2025 to you all. May it be prosperous and healthy and happy for you and those you love. And hope you will find lots of opportunities to engage in a playful life.
Sounds great. All right.
Check
Thank you
us
so
out.
much, everybody.
Yep. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.